All right, hello everyone. Thanks for attending the weekly demo QA session. I'm Scott Olson, Director of Marketing at Trade Ideas. Also joining us today are Dan Merkin and Brad Williams as the hosts. They're founding partners. Also online to help us out in the chat is Steve Gomez, Barry Anerson, and David Athariot. I think might show up in the chat as Brad also, but that's okay. Before we get rolling, got a couple questions for everyone. We like to ask some of these questions before we start our webinar so we know who is attending. You're going to see a poll on your screen. Please use your screen to vote. Do you currently have an active Trade Ideas subscription or no? Just kind of knowing who's showing up for all of our webinars lets us better structure what we're going to present. And as the QA webinar is generally a support one for everyone to get their questions answered, we usually have mostly active subscribers in this one. Although on some days we have a lot of new people to us. Thanks, Drew. You can go ahead and vote yes. All right, it looks like most have voted, so I'll go ahead and share this with the audience. So we have just over 70% that have an active subscription. For the rest of you that don't currently have an active Trade Ideas account, you're going to want to hang out toward later in the presentation when we present some ways for you to save the promotional code and also a package. So one follow-up before we get rolling in the webinar presentation. Do you currently own the AI OddsMaker Access license? Those of you who've been attending our webinars recently are familiar with Holly, the AI, the Artificial Intelligence Discovery Engine. And you understand that to access that requires owning a one-time license, and we will explain that later on in the webinar. Once you own it, you have it for life, as long as you have an active Trade Ideas subscription to go along with it. All right, it looks like those members who have an active subscription have voted. That's great. Almost 60% of you who are subscribers and attending today have the AI. The rest of you that don't, we have some exciting stuff to go over and to present to you today. So hang out there, tune in. I'm going to remove that poll and turn you over to Dan and Brad. Hey, guys.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. You ready to
okay.
Wow, everyone? See how good we've been doing. The comparison between the AI and the SPY, the S&P looks great.
Okay, let's jump in.
Yes.
Hold on one second, guys. Okay, for everyone who's been to our webinars, you're aware that Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor. All the information is for educational purposes only. So please consult your registered investment advisor for actual investment advice. Let's dive right into it, Brad.
Let's do it, Dan. Hope you're feeling better, buddy.
You know, I am. Only when I have to do presentations. It's my internal nervousness. So maybe you can explain what this means to our audience and why it's important.
Yeah, well, what we're doing here is we're keeping a running total of the number of points gained in Holly, in our AI engine, since inception, since we started keeping track of this. And was this the beginning of the year that we started keeping track? And what it's showing you is the number of points that have been accumulated since that time over the last 1 month and a couple days or so. And right there, I think Holly's tracking at about up 20 points, and the S&P is down about 17, giving us a net spread right there of about 37 points in the S&P and Holly.
That's a very good point. Obviously, not everybody here knows why we're doing all that. So what I want to do quickly, or actually, Brad, maybe it's better since you can speak and I can't. Can we have you give everyone kind of like a high level, what is Trade Ideas? Why do we say it's an investment discovery engine, especially as it relates to here, this post-market channel?
Well, investment discovery engine, idea generation engine, a lot of people call it different things, but at its core, what we're doing is we're delivering actionable ideas to you in real time. We're watching everything in the market all the time on every single stock, and in the process in doing so, we're creating statistical baselines for every stock and every time frame, and what that allows us to do is really find the interesting opportunities at any given time, and we create our own data in doing so. Why don't you pop on over to the social media channel, Dan, and I'll talk just a little bit about what you're looking at on the social media channel. These are a bunch of symbols that are being talked about more than normal, and we incorporate that data point with some of the other price and volume data points that exist in the market to really bring you, these are ideas that are being talked about in social media, and you can dive right into it. You know, if you look in that bottom right-hand window right there, every one of those symbols is being talked about. I think the bottom one, boom, is being talked about 8,000 times more than normal. The top one, 25,000 times more than normal. So this is just one aspect of the data that we look at. We look at regular, price and volume data that we get from the exchanges, but we also look at other data points, non-structured data points that we get from StockTwits, which is really Twitter for the stock market. That's just one view. And we have,
I was going to say that we should point out there's also the visual confirmations with the charting, which is relatively new to trade ideas, but the idea here is it's a whole platform, not just the alerts.
Well, it is, and over the last 13 years since we've been in business, we've been continually adding tools to the platform, if you will. And over the last year, we added, well, 2 years ago we added the channel bar, which is like your remote control for the marketplace. Last year we added the charting in addition to the AI engine. So there's always new things going into it, but we have other windows like that top list window that you're clicking on. That's like a ranked list of stocks. And then we have other windows that give you a real-time stream of information if some event occurs.
One of the interesting things, Brad, that I think, again, to the tune of Q&A is, people should really be taking advantage of these graphical indicators that we have. And it's kind of like having 30 or 40 charts in one view.
Yeah, it's our position in range, right? And the position in range is something that we have on all different time frames, whether we're talking 1 minute, 5 minutes, all the way up to multiple days into the year or even the lifetime. So really what that graphical indicator is letting you know is where that stock is, in this case, in relationship to its 20-day range. Is it at the bottom of it, in the middle, at the high? That GoPro right there is pretty close to its low of that 20-day range, and so you can get that without even pulling it up on a chart. And then, if you look at the other position in range that we have to the left of it, over to the left, and 3 columns to the left, your other left.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that guy right there, that one's looking at today, just specifically today. And so GoPro, so again, without even pulling up on the chart, it's trading at its high of the day, at least at the market close, while it was trading pretty low over the course of the last month.
And we've been talking a lot about that in terms of how do you identify potential energy? And this is what it looks like. So it's tried here, here, here. Now it's doing it right here.
This is actually a good spot, because this social media channel right here, it doesn't have an indicator that I think is really kind of important. It's our volume indicator. Do me a favor here, Dan. In that G Pro line item, right-click and choose the Send To option. And let's send it to the single stock window. So this right here, if you don't have some of the column data points inside of that window right there, you can just launch a single stock and you can pull it up. And the data point I wanted to look at was that relative volume, which we have in the upper portion of that window, the header portion. But you can really customize this window as well to give you all the special data points that we have specific to that stock.
100%.
So what we can do, I can take you through some other channels right here, or we can talk a little bit about the AI channel.
Well, Brad, I got some stuff to show, but I do. Well, I'm trying to think if maybe let's go through, for again, Earnings. Very
Yeah,
popular.
Earnings is we have a filter inside of our software for earnings, whether it's taking place today, this week, or what have you, and we can incorporate that with a variety of other data points. So here we're looking at stocks that have earnings today that are up, stocks that have earnings today that are down, tomorrow, but it's a real flexible tool because you can create your own window as well if you want to see stocks that had earnings last week and are doing something. Then we have that streaming window on the right there.
Brad, one of the things that to me is critical is just the simple ability to surf and go back. Surf and go back. You can really, let's say, focus on a window like this, a surge window, which is kind of a very, what I would say, high action. You're going to see the big volatile moves. Look at that.
Yeah,
right there.
it's really this particular channel is really incorporating high volume activity with unusual price action, stock making new high or new low, having an inordinate range for the day, but all the while doing so on really big volume, which is one of the things that Trade Ideas does so well because, like I said earlier, we're looking at every stock at every single time frame, so we know what a normal 1 minute move is. We know what a normal 1 minute volume move is, how many shares trade on a normal 1 minute. And so, these types of things, when there are a lot of volume over the course of a minute or two and the stock starts to move, then we can easily pick that up and show it in one of these windows here. And oftentimes, you're going to see it in a couple windows.
If you look at VTNR, that's exactly the kind of activity a lot of people want to spot during the day. I mean, that's just huge alpha opportunities, even though there's a big pullback, but still, I mean, from kind of the open, pretty much, an hour and a half in, you really
can see also, I mean, just look at those volume bars and compare it to the previous day. That's, again, once that volume starts to happen, it's very, very easy to pick that up, especially when a stock starts to make new highs.
And you can kind of see, like just like you said, it's almost like, wow, there's a storm brewing. Or, we don't know if the storm is good or bad, but, I mean, clearly the volatility and the volume together, that kind of gives you where the action is. And that's what we're the best at. You're never going to miss.
Also, look at what was happening here at the beginning of the day. Well, I mean, really through the first half of the day, and you compare that to what was happening on the spiders, which is that chart over on the right-hand side where it did nothing but bleed early on before it tried to find some base. Completely didn't perform the same way.
So the thing was that I wanted to say was the surfing. That don't get stuck in one thing, and also what we had talked about, whatever it is that's happening, whether it's like China or stocks that are trading unusual options. We've gotten to the point where you don't really have to have configurable knowledge. Like, you don't have to know everything because, again, do you know how Netflix streams Orange is the New Black? No, but we watch it because it's a good show. This is the same thing. These channels are already designed to be very active and, spot on. So the surfing is a motif, and there's something for everyone. Again, whether you're very active or if you're looking at more fundamental information. Something for everyone. But Brad, what I'm about to do is really kind of jump right into the second part of our presentation by talking about the FANG stocks. So, do people know what the FANG stocks are? In the questions, when I say FANG, other than Call of the Wild and okay, Dave knows. Okay, good. Again, I'm just asking because I'm going to make sure that. Okay, so FANG is an acronym, and it stands for Facebook, Amazon. That's right, Apple. Netflix, and so on. And they're very they're not only popular stocks, they're people spend hours trying to figure out how to trade them because they're volatile. So what I'm going to do now, Brad, is I'm going to kind of close this up a little bit. And before we jump on the AI side, look what we got here. And as we always say in every presentation, for everyone who is a Trade Ideas client and they have access to the testing technology that comes with Holly, all of these windows, we will just give them to you so that you can do this on your own without us. But you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, Brad, do you know what's happening here?
I like it. Yeah, you're focusing each alert window on a particular stock.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, so we kind of gloss over it all the time, but Trade Ideas isn't just a you know, a screener or a scanner. I mean, we are a data manipulation platform where we always study our own data, and I will constantly test concepts to see if they work or not. So one of the things that people have been asking us, especially since we've been talking a lot about the AI engine, which we haven't even covered yet, is, well, how come, can you guys help me trade the Apples, the FANG stocks? What can you do to help me find out how to trade them? Well, part of the problem here, Brad, in general, is that discretionary trading is somewhat random. You know, when we make decisions to buy and sell something, I mean, we think that we know what we're doing, but a lot of times, and I know this from my own personal experience, it's somewhat subjective. You know, all of a sudden you look at the futures and something happens and, you know, this looks good and it turns out to work. Or here, this looks good and it also turns out to work. And this. And this. But how does that do at other times? So that's what we can do with Trade Ideas. So we can right-click in any window. We can go to Backtest. And here I have it set up to backtest a crossed above resistance. But I'll show you some other stuff too. So we have a timed exit of 60 minutes. And again, the idea is that people always say, well, why do you use that? Well, you have to start somewhere. So you start with an idea, and then you test it to see if the idea works. So here, let's go to Simulate Buy on Apple. So here's what it looks like. You got a 56% success rate. But trading 500 shares, which is, you know, for a $100 stock, 50 grand a pop, this is what you do. 10% down. Why? Here's kind of the answer. Support and resistance is subjective. So when you apply it systematically, what you find out that even if you're succeeding in the direction, your winner to loser ratio can still screw you up. This is why it's so hard to trade just one stock. Because again, the question is when? When is it the right time? It all looks good right here, but not here. Let's look at another one. So now Facebook, same thing. And by the way, again, we'll try different concepts. Simulate buy. Now, of all of these, Facebook is the best one, I'm pretty sure. And, you know, that's part of the luck of the draw. But at least here, you can test it. So you can get an idea, and you can decide, is this something that's going to work for me? Let's go back to Netflix. So, Brad, did these success rates look that good?
Well, I mean, no. With no filters and just looking for something crossing above, no, they do not look good.
Well, again, so that I don't cop on everyone, maybe we can talk about a little bit about, so I'm going to move us out of here. I'm going to move the Facebooks, the Amazons, and the
But I
Netflix.
was going to, before you do, because it really brings up a really good point, the Netflix, for instance. In fact, run the odds maker on it again real quick. Sure. Because I think it leads into having people understand a little bit more about what we're doing with the AI. So go ahead and run it. Just run it again. Because what we're doing with the AI allows us to look at something like this across above resistance and then say, what would happen if I only take this trade when the market's up, or when the spiders are up over the last 15 minutes, or any number of other filtered combinations. Go to the optimization tab. And I'm not going to get into it in detail. We do it here for price, and we do it for time, where we break it into different segments and say, how did each of these segments do? When were you successful trading? And here, all of these different filters and trade ideas have the ability to be modified. And you know, if maybe something as simple as, I'm only going to buy this stock when it's up for the day, or when it's up from the open, makes an impact. Well, we can do this here through our backtesting tool, and it's super powerful. But what we found is that it's really difficult to spend the kind of time that you need to spend to really find the information that you need to find. It's all there, but digging through big data is really difficult. So we essentially, turned our computers loose on this big data to try to, find the best filter values, the best strategies, and everything to use. So maybe that's the segue into, bringing it into our AI channel, and really what we're doing with that, how we're defining and selecting the strategies, what smarts are going into that, and then what's happening the next day.
Well, Brad, as we do that, let's have the audience remember this right here. These numbers, 42%, 71 profit factor. What I want to do too is let's look at the one that was good, and we're going to back test it one more time. (51%) 1.3. Okay, not bad. So look at these. These are important numbers. This answers your question: why don't Trade Ideas customers trade the Amazons and the Netflixes and the Facebooks as often? So let's take a look at why. Brad, maybe the first place to start is right here.
Okay, well, that column that Dan's pointing to, that's the historical win rate of the respective strategies that you see under the strategy column. But let me kind of go up into the helicopter a little bit and talk about those different strategies that you see there in that list and how they even come to be. So we start off with about 30 different strategies each night, or each day rather. These 30 strategies are concepts of something in the market. Maybe it's a gapper strategy, maybe it's a pullback strategy, a mean reversion strategy. It doesn't matter. So we have these 30 different concepts of strategies that we've put together. And at the end of every day, at the end of every trading day, Holly goes through these different strategies and does that same analysis we were just doing right there, by looking at every strategy, looking at all the filters, going back and saying, if I put this filter in, how would it affect the outcome of that strategy? And so it does that for all 30 strategies, and then it runs that back test on them all, and it generates these metrics. And that's that historical column right there, that win percentage. That next column to the right, that recent performance, that's really just that calendar heat map. We didn't really get into it much, but that calendar heat map that's on that bottom left, just kind of laid out in a linear fashion. So each one of those blocks is a day, and it's letting you know the success rate of each one of those days. So that's the historical nature of it. But at the end of every day, after all of those strategies are created, it then looks to all of the metrics in that odds maker run. Win percentage, profit factor, the profit factor has to be a certain value, and in determining the win percentage and the profit factor, it uses an in-sample set of data as well as an out-of-sample set of data, and we do that to minimize the effect of what selecting these various filters would have on. Other people would call it curve fitting. So This is our method of avoiding that curve fitting by having a certain set of data completely set aside. So in that final analysis, we're not even looking to that original data that was optimized, yet we're looking to a data set that's outside of that. Nevertheless, though,
I was going to say, Brad, that's, I think, a good time to explain that in order to even be a stock that comes through here in real time and you get to see it and possibly follow it or see how the AI manages it, it's got to be above 59.5% successful. So none of the FANG stocks made it. The best one, Facebook, only had 51% success. And that's the thing that I think investors have a hard time kind of putting together, is that look at what happens here. Every single one of these stocks, strategies that produce something, had these historical ads. From 61%, we got 100%. From 67, we got 83. From 67, 35. And from 59, 16. So this still can happen, even with incredible odds. But at least you're going in the direction versus just guessing. And I think that's the big thing that I always try to communicate when you're using this methodology to invest versus just discretion. So Brad, why don't we let Scott come in? Scott?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay.
I was on mute still. Okay. Yeah, actually, let's go ahead and stop there for a moment before we talk about our pricing schedule. Something to really kind of take home from the webinars that we give is that you're never alone in the Trade Ideas community. We have Barry's Traders Room that is very active every day. I popped in there today and there were over 170 active people in there watching Barry and participating and talking about interesting stocks that they were finding from their various scans. That's awesome. Just go to the, you can get there very easily by going to the footer navigation on any of our main websites pages and clicking on the Traders Room, and that will take you to a page where you can click through to open the app. We also do an office hours every Monday with Jamie Hodge and Steve Gomez, our educators, and that is a great webinar for anyone of any level to attend. We also answer questions in that webinar. Today's webinar is an example of our QA demo webinar hosted by Dan and Brad. Also a great way to see the new features that we're bringing forth, how we're using it, and ask questions about anything you might have. Jamie's Studios on Thursdays. Every Thursday, Jamie Hodge and Steve Gomez, again, interact with the audience and go over techniques to use trade ideas, features of trade ideas, and also provide great nuggets of information because they're veteran traders and anyone can walk away from those sessions with some really great ideas. We also have another one, which is the Trade of the Week webinar, and that one's not on this list because it is not strictly a support webinar. It is also one of our promotional webinars, but anyone who is on the Trade of the Week list, which we always encourage people to sign up for, you get a free newsletter every Monday with a long or a short play that's interesting to look at and consider, as well as invitations to our Trade of the Week webinars, where we go into a little bit more depth about how we find the trade of the week, other ways to use our AI, and other trading techniques. And now if we go to the next slide here, I'll briefly explain what our pricing is like. So Trade Ideas is a software as a service company, and as such, we have a primary income model of our subscriptions. So our core subscription is our monthly rate, and that's $99 a month, and that includes all the data. It includes our charting. Very importantly, it also includes our one-on-one training, which we've made super easy to sign up for. As soon as you get an active Trade Ideas account, go to the support section of our website and click on training. You can select a time of your preference. You have that confirmed instantly, and then you can go ahead and get that free hour of one-on-one training with screen sharing. You can also test the backtesting module of Trade Ideas. So we have an annual plan in addition to the monthly. It saves you a bundle. It's $888 per year compared to the $99 a month. Great way to stay in Trade Ideas at a low price. Very importantly now, and this is becoming more important now that we're moving version 4 out of beta and into production soon, is our AI strategy odds maker license. That's a one-time $1,100 fee, and you have that for life. As long as your Trade Ideas subscription is active, you have access to the AI channel, which is Holly, and the backtesting module, the odds maker. So you can find trades using the Holly channel that are performing in the market right now, check out the strategies, see the results. You can also take your own strategies and backtest them and optimize those without any programming, and you can do that against the entire market. Again, we have basically three things. We have 2 subscriptions. One of them saves you quite a bunch, and that's the annual. And we have the AI strategy license, which gets you full access to Holly and all of Trade Ideas' higher functions for life. I am going to turn this back over to Dan and Brad so they can show you a little bit more and also answer your questions. And then I will come back on to thank you guys for attending and show you how to sign up with us and save. Brad, Dan?
Thanks, Scott. So hey, Dan, there was a user, and I don't have the window open right now, but he was asking about a momentum scanner.
So
I mean, it's what we do, but I sent you a cloud link. I actually sent you a couple.
Okay, hold on one second, Mr. Williams.
By the way, sending these links, it's a great way to share your strategies amongst the community or even with support. So if you need help on a strategy, shoot us what you've been working on or what you're trying to do, and we can do something to it and shoot you the link back.
Brad just sent me a link, and click on my cloud, and the link's already in. I hit load.
I sent you the wrong link.
Okay.
I'm going to do it real quick, and it just shows. I'll show you how easy it is. So
very easy to fix.
That was the other one I was working on. But what I wanted to send was a multi-strategy window, and it's a great momentum window that I had put together recently. And so when that question came through, I thought, let me pull it up and see who that was. Yeah, so if you run a history on that for today, you'll get some real interesting candidates. But I broke it down into price points, so medium volume, extreme volume, but on 2 different price points. So if you would like that window, you can shoot us an email. It's not using any custom filters, so we can just give you that cloud link if you'd like. And you can have that.
But it's a great example of how people share technology and ideas all the time, and Trade Ideas, and again how visual everything is. That this is.
This window is set up here specifically for someone that's looking for momentum, because I've got the symbol repeating when something is continuing to happen, so you get the full sense of something happening in the stock when it's starting to move.
And you can instantly check its social activity, like nothing, 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 boom. Wow, MOD. That's, so look at that. I mean, that's how you know.
So then the other link that I gave you was my limit alerts that I'm sharing with you, and I know that we're in this beta version, this development version, that every time we upgrade, we kind of lose our alerts. But this really illustrates a real great feature. Just go to the My Cloud and load it in. Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to open up mine too, because I, by the way, had a couple that were interesting. Okay. There you go.
So my alerts just get added, so really it's about sharing.
So let's look at how people utilize this technology. So these limit alerts allow you to look at any stock and set a price on it. So here at TDW, and when the price crossed this price point that I had selected, it was triggered.
Yeah, and we do that nice annotation where you can see exactly what candle that was that triggered that event.
Right, there's a little blue flag. So this is how it looks. DNR getting ready.
And then, and Dan, over on the far right, and we haven't put the finishing, polishing touches. So by the way, guys, this is still in development, really looking to get this released really quickly. But go ahead and scroll to the right on that limit alert window. The most important field really is that notes field that we put together.
On the,
go to the limit alert window, yeah, scroll over, and then that notes field, which is really kind of telling you what's going on because you are the one putting these notes in.
Right, so here I can take the column, move it over, and now, again, if as soon as I see the symbol, there it is. So that's kind of like the way I imagine it. So you see it triggered, and then the notes. And by the way, that's again, I do this for you know, a lot of different stocks that I'm in. See, look at this one. This is not the one. This is this one. It's the one that hasn't been triggered. There was one that was triggered earlier, I think. Yeah, back to life. So that one was right here. But the idea is that you can really mix and match.
So Dan, why don't you show the process for putting a limit alert on, because that's really one of the nice, workflow for people that are scanning and looking for ideas and pulling it up on the chart, and maybe it's not really an opportune time to put on the trade, but it's certainly something on a longer term that's caught your eye.
Sure. I'm going to go to this one. So you can do this with any stock. VHS. Let's take a look. I don't think I see a good price on this one. Skip.
Skip.
Okay. How about right here? Call it clear breakout.
And you clicked at 377, but of course you could change that price.
Yeah.
And so it's visible right there on the chart.
Yep. See, I was just noticing I had made some notes before, but this is
I think you blew out your mic.
Huh? Sorry. Okay, how about this one? Again, you can right-click anywhere.
So presently there's functionality to pop the limit alert window up, to have an audible sound. There are additional features that are being added. But like I said earlier, we're hoping to release this in the next couple of weeks to you guys.
Yeah, and again, there's expiration dates. You can do a lot of sophisticated things. The idea is never missing a trade. Steve, that's fantastic. Let's see. So we covered the fangs. I coughed. It's standard. Okay, let me see if I have
I want to see what glue looks like post-market. Wonder if that was today.
So let's look at the after hours. So what I'm doing is I'm surfing, just continuing. Yeah,
There you go.
big one, big mover.
So why don't we take some questions? I've been watching. It looks like we're all caught up. But if anybody has any questions that you want us to take right here, maybe show you how to do something, or what have you, this is the forum to do it. It's great to hear Leon. He's saying that the metals channel was awesome today with the gold move, and that's why that channel bar is there. It's to be able to give you the opportunity to cycle through different themes and spot the interesting stuff that may be going on. Start off with that sector channel, see what's going on, and then navigate from there.
A lot of times, Brad, what I'll find is as I'm channel surfing, names that I'll see something in metals that will then reappear possibly in surge if that's the thing that's happening that day, So what'll happen is
I look for that confirmation as well.
Right, so that'll reiterate. So I kind of, while I'm doing this, while I'm surfing, I always have my eye on, well, what am I seeing exactly, right? And when I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, well, do I see it back on the winners? Does it make it? Or is this all kind of just more noise than anything else? And so with us, I really think, the big value add that we're trying to bring to the table is to have investors spend less time creating stuff and more time just allocating capital to statistically sound decisions. That's really the key. You should be able to quickly just click on something and either make a decision for discretion or do what we really think is the most prudent thing, which is working with AI that's statistically viable.
So Dan, I have a question here from Sunil, and he's asking, with the subscription yearly or monthly, do they get the updated software whenever it's available, or do they need to pay for it? And so you do get, anytime we have an update, you're welcome to download that for sure.
Yeah, everything is, and also there's a couple of things that happen. You get all year down upgrades, but you also get grandfathered into your rate because we've really just raised prices, and that typically continues because we add a lot of functionality. But whenever you sign up, you get the rate locked in.
It's funny, Dan, because we've been doing this for a long time, right? 13 or 14 years now, and I kind of scanning some of there are people that have a $37 rate. They've been with us so long. So
yeah. Well, so Brad, this is the other thing I wanted to kind of showcase a little bit. So our AI channel, after the market's over, an investor, you can go in and you can really look at every single thing that's happened. And you can do it in a couple of different ways, Brad, and this is kind of what I like to do to really get a feel, because again, there's different ways to get a feel, right? And today, for example, look, you can tell what was going on. You started up, really caught something very quickly, but then the market, again, there was so much volatility. And people often, I think, dismiss how tricky it is to, there's this feel versus real in investing and trading. The feel is you want to be like, man, I come to the office, I turn on the market, make some money, and I leave. But the real is totally not the case. You have to sometimes fight all day, and even when you have the best odds, it doesn't guarantee success. So one of the things that we really focus on is giving you the ability to feel what happened today. So take a look. And I know, Brad, that this isn't exactly the way you look at it, but this is a kind of like a high level, just start. You can see that it started off going long, and there was a loser, winner, small loser, and then again the longs just ended up. Well, you guys saw what happened. The market ended up selling off. But here's the thing. Every one of these trades, right, and this is what we want to, make sure everyone understands. Every one of these trades only occurred because the condition was set up and these numbers were there to support it. That's the difference. You can really see how sometimes it really takes both ways. If you can only trade in one direction, you literally miss huge opportunities. So what this teaches me to do is it also teaches me how diversified and free of encumbered thoughts I need to be. I can't be thinking, oh man, the S&P needs to do this or the S&P needs to do that. I need to just simply kind of be freer to react. That's one of the things, Brad, that I've even learned myself watching this happen and realizing, well, what does it take to beat the S&P like it's been doing? And what I see is just that consistent discipline, never the huge losers. So that's kind of like my 2 cents. So, Brad, Max's question. So every trade that Holly is in has a custom stop in it. It has a what's called a smart stop that uses each custom stock's time and volatility and range to tell you what the high level should be.
Yeah, and so the smart stop specifically, it's an algorithm that looks at the stock's volatility on an average volatility basis. It looks at what kind of volume that stock is doing today and what's the range of the stock. So it takes all those factors into consideration to come up with a value.
All right, so there's a question about fear and greed trades. Well, Steve, I totally get that concern. The only thing I would say is this: in the scheme of things that we are trying to provide you, if that cost difference, and by the way, again, we totally get it. We get that is a big difference. But if that's the breaking point, that can't be a good thing. You have to have more free capital to trade successfully than that. I want to help everyone, but you can't be that confined. That's really, it's kind of like Vegas and blackjack, and I always use this example. If you go in there with $100, you're going to lose it. You need at least 1,000 just to get a run of cards that might work for you. So, LM. Does our software find the fear and the greed? It certainly does. Let me talk a little bit about that. So, Sunil, first of all, you got to make sure again that you log in, and if you did just sign up, we will have one of our support people get in touch with you and make sure that everything's set up. If it was literally instantly, it might have just be getting the access turned on as we speak. So, 1 second here. Okay, so fear and greed. So here's a window that I use. Let me close this. It's called float on. to me, this window is very good at identifying the fear and the greed. Low float stocks are the ones that exhibit the kind of volatility that really help us as individuals take advantage of supply and demand inefficiency, which is what we're here to do. So here's VLTC. And this list, again, you can sort it. If you sort it by what's up the most for the last half hour, you're really seeing just what's moving now. So look at this BZH off of lows. Look at that beautiful move right there. So notice how I sorted it. BCI, same thing. Here's another one. All of these look beautiful because of this resort. So that's how I use this technology to always be a little bit ahead of the game. It's like you kind of stair step your filtering to make sure you've got very interesting things. And then you really expand the view.
Yeah, notice that position in year range filter that you have there.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm looking for the bounce.
Beaten, yeah.
Here, look at this. See, I'm looking for the bounce. Here's a position in 20-day versus the year for these low float names. So look at Sienna, right? I mean, this was one of our previous Trade of the Week stocks. We talked about the potential energy. Look at the beauty of this bottoming pattern. This is what every bottoming pattern wants to have. So again, if you send an email, if you're in this webinar, if you send an email, we will give you every window that you see here if you're a subscriber. So no problem. Let's see, mine. Look at that.
It's a nice weak move right there, huh?
Well, that's again, it's like knowing what are the ranges for the most potential. And that's what we're the best at. Here, again, with the relative volume, where you can really see just the things that are starting to pick up just now.
Yeah, I think these are, the float on list and the names in here, these to me are like really great candidates for the limit window because these are names you don't necessarily want to forget about that aren't necessarily going to light up today or tomorrow, but
exactly.
You want to keep them in the back burner.
That's probably the best kind of use. And here's the thing where you can look at something like this, you know it's a candidate, and you're like, well, you know what, until it hits here, so you really can just quickly be able to go through, all of that.
So Dan, Dave is asking a question if we have scans that show stocks pulling back to support or a rising 8 and 20 moving average, and we do. A couple educators put together these types of scans, and we've modeled those for them. We do have the 8 period, we do have the 20 period, moving averages, so modeling that type of action is pretty easy to do in our software.
Let me kind of show you, like through a configuration screen, what you can do. And again, you can do so much. But let's see here. I can go to 8 period, and just by searching, you can see that there's all sorts of alerts that you can select that are very technically oriented. We have the largest our database is the most sophisticated, so we're able to do and give our customers the broadest breadth of this kind of behavior. And you can do it as alerts or as filters. So you can, look for new highs when a certain condition is taking place, or new lows when another kind of condition is taking place. But the real key, guys, and this is what I'm trying to say, is that we've been doing this for 13 years, and nothing comes close to the power of the AI in terms of providing alpha. And I know, of course, it sounds like, whoa, you're a premium product, but it's really just also our premium technology at work. We always say, like, think about this, that to get these strategies and to get these trades trading for you guys, right now the software is currently in the process of doing 1 million practice trades. That's what we're doing. 1 million possible practice trades a night. That's what it takes to be able to say, okay, I think this next trade is going to have a 61% success rate. And again, there's still no guarantees, but my goodness, is it sure enough better to trade this way than to trade discretionarily on your own. Are there any other questions? So Don, again, shoot an email and we'll look at your ID and someone will totally get you going with your old Windows. Sunil, yes, we have scanners that are pre-built with options volume. Again, if you subscribe, we'll send you a link to them.
And we also have that as an options channel, which is already set up.
Yeah, Mike, we're going to do all of that, the special discounts, everything. Scott, are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, has everyone's questions been answered? Anyone have anything else for the board? All right, cool. Well, since it was asked for in the chat, we'll go ahead and roll into that then. We like to thank everyone for coming by providing a way for you to, if you're not already a client, come on board in the least painful manner possible. If you are a client, a way to get the additional services or even save some money moving forward with your subscriptions. So if you can look at your GoToWebinar panel, will have a section called Handouts, and there's a PDF in there titled AI versus SPY in today's promotions. So go ahead and download that, and it'll contain some of the same information on these cards. You can use the code that you see highlighted in yellow, capital HOLLY 3, Holly 3, and it's case sensitive, on checkout to save half off your first month, 20% off your first year, or 30% off the lifetime AI odds maker license. So it's a great way if you're already a subscriber to get into the AI and odds maker license instead of $1,100 for just $770, and that's lifetime. You can get a year change from a monthly to a yearly for just $710 for the first year, and then you're grandfathered in at the $888 rate moving onwards from there. Or try us for the first month for just $49. It's under $50. You can decide how our service is. We do get most of the people that come on with that after their second month, they're upgrading into a year. That's why we provide this kind of path for you. Something that's very important, though, is on the next slide. We have a package for those of you who understand the real value of trade ideas, and it lets you get the AI odds maker technology for basically free. So for $1288, you get the full year of trade ideas, and you're grandfathered in at that $888 renewal rate, and the lifetime odds maker AI license for just $1,100. I mean, for just $1288 total, and that saves you $700 instantly. The best way to get that is to click through from the PDF on that bit.ly link, or just type it into your browser now, bit.ly/AI Holly, and the AI Holly portion is case sensitive, so it needs to all be caps. That will take you to a page where you can click through a graphic just like the one you see on your screen to purchase the package. And if you're already a subscriber on the monthly, you can just upgrade to this. Shoot us an email letting us know you did that upgrade, and we'll thank you and make sure that your account is set up correctly so you're no longer going to have the monthly $75 or $99 charge. You're just straight in at that package rate. We're taking this package down on the 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern because we're taking Holly, the version 4, out of beta and into production next week. So next Monday, Holly will be in production, and version 4 will be officially a production release. And this offer is really for Holly as a beta test. So we're going to extend this offer past next Monday to the following Tuesday after President's Weekend. So the time to get this package is now. Holly is coming out of beta. It's no longer a test. She's real. And it's really the best opportunity to get in at this kind of price. You're getting Holly for free, basically, compared to the $99 a month rate. So if you have any questions about that at all, email us. Remember, this is going to end on the 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Email info@trade-ideas.com. Get Dan directly, Dan@TradeIdeas. Brad is Brad@TradeIdeas. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro. We occasionally post some offers there. We don't post anywhere else. Likewise, Twitter. Dan posts some offers to Trade Ideas 1, and we post some things, some great trade information to @TradeIdeas as well every day. Follow both of those. Follow us on Facebook. Email us with any questions, and we will help you out. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Brad. Everyone will get an email with a link to the playlist to find a recording of this webinar by tomorrow. And again, this is going away in 2 weeks. You need to get into this offer now if you're going to try it. Thanks, everyone. See you in the next webinar.
Thanks, Scott.